It's Frank Walker from National Times. Welcome back to the Nurse Ratchet podcast.
Yes.
Sorry, I'm popping.
Pop your pussy.
As I fucking always do. Anyway, welcome. What's been life? Dead
What's your
kittens
name?
and such. I'm Olivia.
And I'm Georgia. And welcome to Nurse Ratchet.
I forgot that's part of the introduction. Telling people our names.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we've had an update on your life.
Yeah, we don't want to talk about it anymore.
No. But what are we talking about today, Georgia?
Today we are doing part 2 of Nurse Toppin.
Okay.
Yep. We are covering the final episode today, and then we are taking a Christmas break so that we can have a rest.
Excellent. And how long is the Christmas break going to be for? Have we worked out dates yet?
We haven't.
But
I'm thinking
last week of December and first week of January?
Yeah.
Like 2 weeks?
You'll probably hear us in your ear holes late January.
So open them up.
Because we've got some Edward Cullen. No, not Edward. Edmund. I keep thinking Twilight. I keep getting Twilight.
Edward Cullen.
Edward Cullen. No, not him. Not that gorgeous individual. Edmund Cullen. The gaunt, fucking fucked up individual serial killer that was a nurse. Anyway, you'll figure it out. You'll find out. Any updates for you? We neglected you in the last episode because it was all about me.
Yeah, well, it usually is.
Yeah. Vibes.
What's happened with me? Gosh. Well, working, obviously. Loving it. Loving work.
I really sense the sarcasm in that.
What else? I went paint boiling.
Paint boiling. You boil the paint?
Yeah, boiling
paint. Nice.
Yeah.
Didn't know that was a thing.
So you make drugs these days.
Makes sense.
No, I went paint bowling. It was actually a few weeks ago, but...
Did you fuck anyone up?
During the update? Probably.
Did you get anyone right between the eyeballs?
No, but I was gotten right between the eyeballs three times.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Do you have a helmet on?
Yes, with a face shield.
Lucky.
And the guy was like,
What
I
colour was
have
it?
one rule, black. And
So you just all of a sudden it's just like black.
Yeah.
Right. What's the one rule? No face shots.
Well, not deliberately, obviously, but his one rule was never take your fucking helmet off.
Yeah,
because
fair.
so many times, like, people
'Cause I'll get
accidentally
sued.
shot as well.
Yeah.
You know, shot the paintball, and so you could accidentally shoot someone that's standing right next to you when you don't even mean to, and they don't have, like, their gear on.
Fuck.
You know, necessarily. Anyway, I got hit in the face 3 times, and every time I ran off to the side for the guy to wipe off my helmet and, like, the shield, he's like, yeah, this is why I have this rule. Like, this is why. And I could feel the fucking impact on my helmet. It, like, almost throws your head back a little bit. Yeah. And I have multiple bruises. It's really nasty. And some of the girls at work yesterday they went paintballing on the weekend as well, and we were just talking about it. They had some way more serious, way more impressive bruises than I did. I thought I had bad bruises, and a lot of them, but they had way worse bruises than I did.
All the colours of the rainbow.
Yeah, and then we're all just sitting there going, like, you know, because they went, like, with their partners who were guys, as did I. And it's just funny, all the girls, we've all gone, make our partners happy. Because they're guys who want to, you know, go and, like, fight a war type thing. And, you know, obviously my partner, he was super into it, and he was, like, chatting with all the other guys, and they were coming up with, like, ways that, you know, techniques and tactics, how they could get to the flag in the centre and taking it super seriously, loving it. And all the girls are just, like, back up for the boyfriends.
Oh my God.
Because none of the girls really wanted to get in, but I really got in there. I tried to get the flag a couple of times, and that's why I got hit in the face 3 times,
shields.
because I got right in there. And I was the only woman, got right in there.
You go, girl.
I'm not afraid, but it's still very painful and very unpleasant, and I don't think I'll go again.
I would have been so on the front lines of that. I would have been taking everyone the fuck out. I'm
Yeah.
so competitive.
I
and that sort of
was.
shit.
Yeah.
Were you? I would have paid to see that. That would have been hilarious.
Oh, but it was so bad. I was on my period, and I was just bleeding so heavy, and
Just
it was
leaking
so
all over the place.
hot in there.
Ew.
No ventilation whatsoever.
Come on. Invest in some fucking air conditioning.
I know, or just fans.
We live in Australia.
Fans.
Guys.
There was no fans whatsoever. It's in a big indoor warehouse. There's so many paintballs
thanks.
on the ground, which is fine, whatever. It's a paintball fucking place. But it's so slippery and slidey. It ruined my shoes, got all in my hair. I had to wash my hair so many times. It doesn't smell very nice. Anyway.
Did you win?
I don't think so. We left.
Did you get a tit shot? Did anyone get you in the tits?
3/4 of the way. No,
That
actually.
What about,
they gave you
what
a
about a
chest
pussy
plate,
shot?
though.
Oh, do they? Okay.
A pussy shot?
Did you get a pussy shot? A wet pussy shot?
No. But it's definitely like my thighs and my arms got hit a lot. And my face.
And my face, just casually.
Yeah, it's so awkward, like
Who's
trying to run off when you're
at
like
your face. Firstly,
no, you're not necessarily aiming at the face, but some people just
Going for the
blind
head.
shoot as well, and there are rogue balls going everywhere because
that's
some people
fair.
are hiding behind a thing and they're just shooting and they're not even looking because they're so terrified. It was hilarious.
That's why guns
Not so fun.
That's why you need a license for guns because some people just don't know what they're doing with them.
Oh, seriously, like watching some of those people.
I'm a professional.
I do go shooting sometimes, but I'm not a professional, not at all. Shooting actual gun, but
That's a bit of a slay, honestly.
it's good fun, yeah.
I know how to shoot.
you should see how good I am. I told you I'm just as accurate as Max.
Yeah, and Max is a
Ex-Marine.
ex-Marine. What a slay, bitch. What a slay.
But I was always very good at
Is he
archery and
threatened
stuff
by
like
your...
that. No, he was
Your
seriously...
accuracy?
No, not at all. He's very impressed.
Is his manhood threatened by your accuracy?
No, not at all. He wants to teach me more. He wants
that's
to
awesome.
Move me on to handguns now,
Nice.
which I think would be really fun.
He's going to mansplain handguns to you?
No, not at all. He didn't even bother. He asked
like,
me
I got
first
this.
if he's like, so do you want me to explain
Yeah,
to
right.
you? And I'm like,
Would you like me to mansplain?
please. No, he doesn't.
No, he doesn't. I'm just playing.
Yeah, the last time we
handguns.
went, this guy who was a professional shooter who was there, he saw my sheet
It
that
was
I
like, slay.
yeah. Basically, he was like,
Slay queen.
damn, like that's a really
Damn, girl.
good spread, is what he said.
For a
I
girl?
think. Yeah, no, he didn't. But
Sorry.
he just looked at it, and I don't know, he didn't expect it was mine. I think he thought it was Max's, and he was like, yeah, no, she did really good, hey. And he was like, oh, yeah, she did. Like, he agreed, and he
For a
realised it was
girl.
me, but he was even more impressed, it seemed.
Yeah,
So that was a
for a
nice
girl.
feeling. This old man just, like, watching, seeing, and I'm like, yeah, it's like my second time. And
Yeah,
he couldn't
that's-
believe it.
Yeah, well.
So that was a nice feeling.
Go
Anyway.
Go off,
We
queen.
should probably go on
We
to
should get on to Nurse
Jane
Toppin
Toppin.
because we've got things to do with
before
our
I
lives.
have to piss again.
All right. So in the previous episode, we basically went through Jane Toppin's roots, how she became a nurse, her behaviour whilst training to be a nurse, and how her insidious kind of psychopathies emerge in that she starts to experiment with morphine and atropine on her patients and starts to sort of show her true self to her co-workers whilst simultaneously conning the higher ups in order to get what she wants. Where we left it was
Smart
that,
lady.
I know. Where we left it was that she was yet again fired from Cambridge Hospital in 1891. So following
so long.
I
ago,
know,
isn't
I
it?
know.
Going
It's
back
an
in
old
history,
timey
it's
tale.
it's so interesting just thinking about what the fuck life was like then.
wild and out.
Yeah.
People just fucking trying to stay alive, I'd say.
I guess, yeah, doing whatever the fuck you want to.
Following being fired from Cambridge Hospital, Jane returned to private nursing because that was really her only option at the time. With private in-home nursing, there wasn't a lot of oversight over nursing practice, which was perfect for a murderer, as you can imagine. However, there was a lot more interacting with patients, family members, which Jane hated. Like, she didn't like talking to the family
I
members.
wonder why.
And there was far fewer people around with which she could blame things on when things went awry. So there was pros and cons to private nursing, but that was her only option.
And obviously documentation back then wasn't what it
A
is
thing?
today.
Was it even a thing?
I would assume they would take notes of some sort, yeah. Probably just on blank sheet of
There's no mention of any notes.
paper. Okay, maybe they didn't take notes at all. Maybe there was absolutely nothing. You're right. I don't know.
Oh no! In the
But surely
previous
that would be like patient
in the
is alive
previous
and breathing.
episode, we did mention that she was she fucked with patient notes.
Yeah, they have to. Surely,
Yeah, there's some sort of
surely.
documentation. Okay. On top of that, whilst the patient load in private nursing was lower, it was still very demanding. A nurse kept around the clock bedside visuals on the patient, according to author Harold Schechter, who wrote a book about Jane Toppin. Nurses were expected to anticipate the patient's every need, to obey the doctor's every direction, and to carry out the wishes of the family without question. So
What
meek.
about the wishes of the patient?
So meek, so mild. Yeah, I know. Carry out the wishes of the family without
But
question.
that's kind of what we are anyway.
They were to be a constant but unobtrusive presence, have an unwavering cheerful disposition, and a docile manner. I could never. Never displaying the slightest trace of discourtesy, fatigue, or irritation. I could never. Could fucking never.
My God. I wouldn't be able to say, doctor, I'm sorry, but...
No, you obviously advocating for your patient wasn't a thing back in the 1800s. You had zero say as a nurse.
No.
You just had to take
Shut
up the
your
arse.
face and, yeah.
You just had to take
Get
up
fucked.
a noose by everyone.
Yeah. Even the
Anyway.
patient's family members. Holy shit.
Yeah, bend over, Jane. That's probably why she killed people.
Spread open.
Because there was no sense of power.
No,
women
she's
had
bottom
back
of the
then.
rung. She's fucking probably hating it too,
yeah.
I wonder. So she's like, maybe I can rise
Just
above
take back
all
some
these
of
other
my
people
power,
by,
yeah.
killing patients and fucking with the doctors.
Which is the wrong thing to do, clearly.
Of course. She's clearly not
Targeting
mentally
vulnerable
right.
people. No, she's not right.
It's a bit of a psychopath, I think.
Such a
by the sounds of
psychopath.
it.
She did quite well for herself in this time, despite having some people say her extravagant storytelling was a bit odd. The round-the-clock care took care of Jane's living arrangements when she had to work, but when she didn't, she lived with an elderly couple called Israel and Lovey Dunham. The name Lovey is iconic. I love it. At 19 Wendell Street in Cambridge is where she went to live with
I
her.
wonder if that house is still standing. I would love to find out.
Let's Google Earth it.
Okay.
Another time, maybe.
Yeah.
At a certain point, she began providing home care for the Dunhams, who were both nearly 80.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's pretty good for the 1890s.
That's iconic. How do you
That's
get to
like
80?
the 0.1%
I
surely
know.
back then.
They're probably rich as fuck.
Shit.
On May 26, 1895, Israel Dunham randomly died after 4 days of illness from what the coroner had identified as a strangulated hernia. It's oddly specific.
So, a bowel obstruction?
For the nerds in the chat, a triangular hernia is where a part of the bowel protrudes through the abdominal wall and becomes pinched off to the point where the bowel is obstructed and the blood supply is cut off. The symptoms include severe pain that intensifies quickly, nausea, vomiting, fever, inability to pass gas or move your bowels,
So they must have known about hernias back then.
a hernia bulge that turns dark red or purple is basically a strangulated hernia.
Yeah, and it can die off.
Yeah,
So they knew
signs
about
and symptoms that you can pick up.
hernias back then, that the bowel could come through the omentum, I guess, and
Yeah.
the rest of it.
Yeah, but they didn't know enough to pick up when it wasn't one because it wasn't.
Yeah, it wasn't.
No.
No, so
A
there was
strangulated
nothing
hernia.
else going on in terms of that.
They just was like, oh, it must be a strangulated hernia.
Okay. You don't know if the patient had what issues they had beforehand? I'm guessing there's
I'll
no
get to it.
documentation. Okay, sorry.
But I guess the old-timey doctors of the 1800s weren't on the ball in terms of diagnosing cause of death because the truth was that he had been poisoned by Jane because he had become, in her words, feeble and fussy.
Oh, so he's annoying and
annoying
she
old
doesn't like
person.
an annoying patient.
Yeah, so
not many people do. But
she admitted to killing him, so it was never a hernia.
he just wouldn't stop asking for more fucking tea.
I know. He
kept asking for
required
cups of
care
tea.
at 80 years of
He
age.
kept having to go to the toilet.
I know, what? Following murdering her literal husband, Jane stayed on with Lovey Dunham for more than 2 years after that until September 1897 and decided that Lovey had now become old and cranky and poisoned her with a morphine atropine cocktail mixed with water. A couple of years later, in the summer of 1899, Jane really stepped it up a notch and decided to murder her foster sister, Elizabeth. Dun, dun, dun. These are the days of our lives. Some sources say Elizabeth was, for the most part, pretty cordial and nice to Jane, but others say she had an air of superiority about her. Either way, Jane was riddled with envy and hated her. Despite this, Elizabeth and her husband always appeared to show a fondness for Jane and were happy when she found success as a nurse. But for Jane, Elizabeth represented everything she never got, and because of this, and for the reasons we will find out later, she had to destroy her. In August 1899, Elizabeth received an invite from Jane to stay at Cape Cod in Orange. Elizabeth's husband, Lorimer, encouraged her to go because she had been melancholy, which is old-timey speak for a bit depressed. And he thought Jane could cheer her up until he arrived a couple of days later. So Elizabeth agreed and headed to Cape Cod with a whopping $50 in her purse, intending to splurge and spend a lot on her girls' trip. So $50 was a shit ton back then.
Mm-hmm. I bet it was.
Jane arrived later that evening on August 25th. The next day, they went and enjoyed a picnic on the beach and chatted in the sunshine for several hours. Following drinking a drink Jane handed her on the picnic, Elizabeth started to feel, what do you know it, quite tired. So they went back to the holiday home and Elizabeth retired to bed early. The next day, though, Elizabeth didn't wake. Jane would say later that this was her chance to exact her revenge on Elizabeth. She told investigators that as her foster sister slipped into a coma, Jane climbed into bed with her to be as close as possible when she died. How fucking sick. She quoted, "Elizabeth was the only victim that I actually hated and poisoned with a vindictive purpose. I let her die slowly with gripping torture. I fixed mineral water so I could do that and added morphia to it. I held her in my arms and watched with delight as she gasped her light out." End quote. Okay. That's fucking sick.
Didn't you mention last time that this was like also partially sexual for her?
Yeah.
She got off on it in a way.
Which makes it even more sick.
Yuck.
But I think with this one, she truly hated her. And so it was just like
Very
the
jealous,
ultimate,
maybe.
The ultimate high. Oh, she was without a doubt jealous. Definitely. Jane claimed to others later that in the morning she went to check on Elizabeth and found her unresponsive in bed. She called a doctor and telegrammed Elizabeth's husband.
Telegram.
I know. How do you even send one? Is it
It's
like,
a whole process.
is it fucking SOS?
I think so, and then it gets written down by whoever receives
Imagine
the
a
message.
telegram typo. Like three duts instead of one dut. And it's just like, oh my God, he said fuck you.
Yeah. Something completely different. That's Morse code though, isn't it?
Yeah. So how do you telegram?
I think it's like sending a fax,
Voice
but
recording.
not really.
Someone help.
We'll Google it.
Send us a text, y'all. She called a doctor and telegrammed Elizabeth's husband, Oromel. Oromel made plans to get to Cape Cod ASAP. He arrived the next day and Elizabeth was in a coma when he arrived, poor thing.
So she's still alive?
Yep.
Okay.
The doctor diagnosed her with a stroke of apoplexy. Old-timey speak for equivalent to a stroke, I guess. And
Okay.
Elizabeth died the next day on August 29 at 70 years of age. She was 70.
Mm-hmm. She would have gotten older than that probably. She could have lived to
definitely.
80 or 90.
Yeah, rich people lived long back then, apparently. A stroke of apoplexy. What does apoplexy mean? Unconsciousness or incapacity resulting from a cerebral hemorrhage or stroke. There you go. A few days later, as Oromel was packing up her belongings, he noticed she only had $5 out of the $50 in her purse. Jane also said that before she died, Elizabeth said that she could have her gold watch as her dying wish. And wanting to honour his late wife's wishes, Oromel gave it to her. She's like, hey, I killed your fucking wife. And by the way, she wanted me to have her gold watch. A few months later, December 1899, Jane killed again. 70-year-old Mary McNear had caught a cold from being out in the cold on Christmas Day. In the days that followed, the family was concerned for her health, so they hired Jane as an in-home nurse to assist Mary until she was well. A local doctor recommended Jane, and the McNear family thought she was more than qualified and noticed a slight improvement in Mary following Jane's arrival. Because of this slight improvement, Mary's granddaughter returned home after a visit, confident that Mary would soon return to good health, being cared for by Jane. A few hours later, though, she had word that her grandmother had took a serious turn for the worse. Mary's granddaughter returned, and the doctor was already there and stated Mary suffered from none other than a stroke of apoplexy, which, according to Jane, had occurred after the medications were given. Convenient. When Mary declined, Jane informed the house staff and insisted that it was nothing to be worried about and she would care for Mary. The cook, however, felt it was appropriate to notify the family and telephoned the granddaughter, or telegrammed, rather. There was nothing they could do for Mary and she died on December 29th. So she was like, no, it's fine. Just calm down. And then the house staff were like, nah, bitch. Something's off here. After her funeral, Mary's family noticed her nicest clothes and jewellery were missing when they were packing up her things. They suggested it may have been Jane to the doctor who recommended her, and the doctor became outraged at that idea. Oh, she had so many people conned. In mid-January 1900, Jane paid a visit to her foster sister, Elizabeth's widow, Oromel. and essentially tried to fuck him. Okay. Hot. Jane had hoped to get him alone. However, Oromel had hired a young woman to help with the house, since his wife, had passed. Jane was immediately jealous of her, and in true Jane fashion, on January 15, 1900, Jane poisoned the housekeeper who died at 35 years of age.
Shit.
What the fuck?
Girl.
She's on a killing spree, eh?
Oh, yeah. She's a serial killer.
Going off. Less than 2 weeks later, William Ingram, 70 years old, a Watertown patient under Jane's care, died on January 27th. And the doctor diagnosed the death as degenerative disease of the heart. However, this time the doctor at least thought it was strange that his death came so suddenly, as the only thing that had changed in his care was the recent arrival of a new nurse. But did they do anything? No.
No. They wouldn't do anything these days either.
She wouldn't do that. She then branched further from her typical victim profile. Her friend, Myra. Myra was diagnosed with localised peritonitis and was prescribed an opium solution to treat it.
Ooh.
Hectic. A week later, Jane arrived at her friend's home, which is interesting that she would be allowed to care for her. But as we know, things were different back then. Up until Jane arrived, Myra had been improving steadily. But within a week of Jane's arrival, Myra Connors died in great agony, suffering such terrible convulsions that her left arm was bent nearly double. So it literally snapped in half.
What the fuck?
I know. Can you imagine suffering such violent convulsions that your arm breaks?
What did she give her?
They would later discover that Myra was poisoned with strychnine, which causes such violent convulsions that the patient dies of exhaustion or asphyxiation due to paralysis of the breathing muscles, only hours after being exposed to it. It came out later that Jane was deeply envious of Myra for her job as a dining hall matron at a theological school, which, why?
So random.
Go off, Queen. Weird. Why would you be jealous of a dining hall matron?
Because she's in charge, maybe.
Yeah, I guess, yeah. Anyone that makes her feel inadequate in any way, she just has to take out.
Yeah.
Jane would not kill after this for an entire year. A cooling off period, if you will. Yeah, if you
Need
will.
a break for a while.
Yep. But following this, she would go on to her most unhinged killing spree of an entire family. Hold on to your butts.
Wow.
I know. It's such a thing, though, with serial killers. They kind of just escalate, don't they? Jane had been visiting the Cape Cod cottage that her and her late sister Elizabeth had visited for many years prior to her murder, and Jane knew the landlords well. Alden and Mary Davis had always been impressed with Jane's success in nursing and had always been happy to let Jane visit the cottage at a reduced rate, which was about $250 for an entire season.
Wow.
Very affordable back then in the 1800s. Now, interestingly, the town of Kramer, Massachusetts didn't like the Davis family. That's where they lived. We're just giving context about the Davis family for a sec. They lived on the outskirts of town because they said that they preferred it that way. But it was said that the town was reluctant to get close to Alden Davis because it was the 1830s when they arrived and Alden Davis had fought for the Confederacy. Secondly, Alden was friends with a man named Charles Freeman. And before I get to this story, I'm just going to say trigger warning because this story is a doozy and involves a child murder. Charles Freeman was a preacher and ran a next-level fundamentalist Christian church known as the Second Advent Church. That's always never good. This church was not at all Christ-like. The Davises also attended this church. Charles Freeman, the preacher, lived with his wife and 2 young daughters. He was always preaching about the need to prove yourself through sacrifices. And in April of 1879, he told his wife that they needed to sacrifice their 4-year-old daughter. Okay. So at 2 a.m. of May 1st, 1879, he woke up and he told his wife he was going to do it as he had been called by God and he would complete the sacrifice. Instead of running for help or helping her daughter in any way, his wife said, "If it's the Lord's will, then I'm ready for it." Charles went out to the shed and got a sharp knife. He went to the room where both his daughters slept. His eldest daughter woke up and he sent her out to be with his wife. He knelt by the crib of his youngest child and prayed that God would take his will like he had Abraham's, even though Abraham did not actually kill his child, and it's a literal story in a book. When he didn't get a response from his sky daddy, Charles prayed that she didn't wake up, but she did just as he drove the knife into her side. Horrible, right? The next day, he invited the congregation over for a long, unhinged sermon before he took them all into his daughter's bedroom where her body still lay. Mm-hmm. He said that she would rise again in 3 days, like Jesus.
Oh, my God.
My God.
Fucking religion.
The community was obviously appalled, and Charles Freeman was sent to an asylum for the criminally insane. So that's
interesting.
something.
I'm surprised they didn't actually go, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, but it's like a 4-year-old, and he stabbed her, his own daughter.
I know. I'm just thinking back in that time. They were definitely
fanatic. Shockingly, his mate Alden Davis showed up to the 4-year-old's funeral and declared there never lived a purer man than Charles.
Ooh.
So the entire community took a big step back from the Davis family, as you can imagine. So that's the context. Mm-hmm. So he supported someone who killed his 4-year-old daughter in a horrific way in the name of religion. And so the community didn't love the Davis family. Yeah. And this family owned the cottage and they rented it out to Jane a lot of the time. Jane would stay for many years at the Davis cottage on and off and never pay the Davises and would come up with random excuses not to pay. She's such a fucking freeloader. She probably didn't have any money, but I mean, she was working, so... Anyway, eventually in June, Mary Davis decided to stop in Boston and collect on the debt that Jane owed them. Mary had diabetes and was suffering with the record-breaking heat wave that was happening at the time. So much so that Alden asked her not to go to the city, but Mary insisted she was going to get that bag, heat wave or not. Jane and her landlords were sitting down to dinner when Mary arrived. Mary wasted no time in announcing her reason for the visit, and Jane immediately invited her to sit down with them and have dinner. And after that, she would be happy to pay what she owed Mary. She insisted Mary must be thirsty after a long trip in a heat wave, so she went to the kitchen and returned with a glass of water for her guest, as she does. She said to Mary after dinner, "We will take a walk to the bank," and she would get out the money that she owed. But as soon as Mary stood up, she immediately felt dizzy. But she wasn't deterred from getting that cash money. So she headed outside with Jane, but as soon as she was met with the summer heat, she fainted.
Oh.
Jane's landlord rushed outside with Jane, and with her help, they got Mary to a bedroom in Jane's flat. Once she was settled, Jane disappeared and fetched a hypodermic needle, and when alone with Mary, injected her with morphine. Mm-hmm. Jane phoned Alden, and Alden sent his daughter Genevieve to check on the situation and was very surprised at the condition her mother was in on arrival and called the doctor against Jane's protests. The doctor, John Nichols, arrived and got the lowdown on why Mary was sick from Jane, which was basically that Mary had eaten a shit ton of cake the night before and it fucked with her diabetes. You could say anything in the 1800s.
Yeah, no.
It's like, it's the diabetes.
It's the apoplexy.
Do they even have insulin back in the day? Like if you have diabetes? What?
Oh, that's such a good question.
Like,
when was insulin and metformin
surely she would die. They must have done something for her.
Must have.
Yeah, because she would just die of ketoacidosis.
Eventually.
Yeah, because there's nothing letting the fucking glucose into the cells, so no matter what she ate, like, she would just be surviving off ketones, so...
Healthy.
Not. Hence death. The doctor was like, yeah, that checks out. It's the diabetes. And
he just probably accepted whatever she said.
Yeah.
Because he probably doesn't know
Because it's like,
himself.
it's Jane. It's fucking Jane. She's a nurse. She wouldn't do anything. Anyway. He left the house and Mary in the care of Jane with a recommendation to monitor her to see if she improves. That week, Jane spent day after day injecting Mary with various doses of morphine and atropine for an entire week.
What the fuck?
I know. Pushing her to the brink of death and pulling her back.
God.
Like, just basically torturing her for asking her for money, basically. Like, this method was a calculated effort to make sure the woman's death looked like it was from diabetes or natural causes. On July 4th, Jane delivered a fatal dose of morphine and killed Mary Davis. Jane's reason for killing her was because she didn't want to pay the debt. But for reasons that was never made clear, Jane decided she was going to kill the entire family next. So she's just like, fuck you for asking me for money. I'm going to kill your entire family. A few weeks later, after Mary's funeral, 31-year-old Genevieve and her sister Minnie, 39, invited Jane to come stay with them in Cape Cod to assist with caring for their father, Alden, while he grieved his wife. It wasn't long before Jane moved in and she attempted to literally set the entire house on fire. When she tried to do this, Alden was up. It was in the middle of the night. He was having insomnia and realised that the house was on fire
Oh, shit.
and yelled for help. Jane appeared and feigned surprise, and the two put out the fire with minimal damage.
Hero.
Oh, such a hero. In the next few days, she again attempted several times to burn the house down.
She must be pissed that didn't work.
I know.
Oh, I'm going to burn this house down
How?
even more this time.
I want to know how she's doing it with a candle. I don't know.
Yeah.
Probably didn't have gasoline back in the day.
No, I was just about to say they did, right?
Oh, they had gasoline, kerosene.
Yeah, kerosene lamps and
Kerosene
stuff.
lamps.
And lanterns. And
Okay.
whatever. I'm sure they had accelerants. Like,
I'm sure there was lots of flammable things too.
yeah, of
Everything
course.
was
of
like
course.
wood and...
Including oxygen.
Yeah, that. So the family questioned Jane and she made up a story of an arsonist lurking around the town. And they were like, that checks.
Wonder who it is.
Yeah, you, Jane. It's you, babe. Genevieve was suffering from the grief of the loss of her mother, as you would imagine. Jane pulled her sister Minnie aside and said that she saw that Genevieve was looking melancholy and she had seen her staring at a bottle of poison in the garden shed.
She's probably fantasizing and having an orgasm while she's staring at this shit.
She's planting the seeds of suicide.
Yeah.
Yeah. The bottle of poison was there though, and it was called Pfeiffer's Strictly Paris Green, a popular insecticide containing arsenic and copper.
Arsenic poisoning.
Arsenic.
That is fucking brutal.
In July 28th, Genevieve became violently ill and started vomiting uncontrollably just cause. The next day, Jane roused Minnie to inform her that her sister had died in the night. Jane told some of the neighbours that she found a syringe next to the body of Genevieve, insinuating that she'd killed herself. Yeah. The doctors put the death down to heart disease at 31 years of age. Are you serious? Like, are you actually legit?
Medicine's come a long way. Very, very long way.
A 31-year-old dying of heart disease. I mean, it happens, but
Of course.
unlikely.
Not this often.
Unlikely, especially when she was perfectly healthy.
Yeah, or the
pariah.
35-year-old other one that also died from a heart.
Yeah.
They put it down to heart condition or whatever it was.
Yeah, they didn't know about each other though.
No.
Jane then wasted little time moving on to her next target. On August 27th, the father, Alden Davis, returned to the cottage in another record-breaking heatwave. Interesting that she chooses heat waves. It's just all very convenient. Jane met him at the door and set him down on the couch and fetched him a glass of water, then put him to bed. The next day he was discovered dead by his granddaughter. A doctor was summoned and Jane explained her theory that after all the stress and grief of the previous month, his heart just gave out. The doctor concurred.
Fuck, these doctors are
I know.
stupid.
They're just out busy spending their
Holy
fucking money and
moly.
not giving a fuck about
They
anyone.
just wanted the title of doctor and to be rich.
Yep.
But they don't actually know anything.
No, they don't.
Really know anything.
Jane's murders were usually followed by a cooling off period, but not this time because she was going to finish the entire family. Less than a week later, on the morning of August 12th, Minnie and her husband Harry were going on a trip to Woods Hole for the day, and Jane convinced her to drink a glass of cocoa wine to build her strength for the trip. Do you know what cocoa wine is? Cocaine in wine. And that was a thing. And it was used to like perk you up.
Yeah, I'm sure it was.
Stimulant.
Wow. Okay.
I want to go back there. I want to live then.
Yeah, let's try it.
Opium in drinks, cocaine
Freely
in drinks.
given.
Life would have been a blast if you had the money to survive it. Like, she went to Woods Hole after her glass of coke wine and immediately began to feel unwell. What are the odds? When they returned from the trip, Minnie was exhausted, dizzy and listless. Faking concern,
Yeah, because she's got bloody...
cocoa wine, morphine
Stimulant
and atropine in her system. Cocaine.
Yeah, you'd be feeling like you're going to die.
Cocaine on top of atropine.
And alcohol.
And alcohol and morphine. So it's like 2 stimulants, 2 depressants, and it's just like a hot mess. When they returned from the trip, Minnie was exhausted, dizzy and listless. Faking concern, Jane fetched Minnie a glass of water, into which she dissolved a tablet of morphine and a tablet of atropine. She gave it to Minnie and tucked her in to settle down on the couch for the night. Fuck. One more time. She gave it to
One more time.
One more time. She gave it to Minnie and tucked her in to settle down on the couch for the night. Mm-hmm. Thank you very much. Thank you very
How
much.
sweet.
I'm leaving. That evening, while everyone slept, she crept back into the parlour where Minnie was and injected her with an additional dose of morphine. And then
Why?
Oh, no, but wait. And then went upstairs to her 10-year-old son, Jesse, brought him into bed with her and held him close while his mother lay dying downstairs.
There, darling. It'll
How
be okay.
fucking depraved is that?
I've just killed your mother, but there, darling. It'll be okay.
But that's...
What the fuck?
I'm thinking a touch of pedophilia. I mean, that's how it reads to me.
I didn't think that. Yeah.
Yeah. 10-year-old son into bed with her to hold him. Like, what must he have been thinking? What was he thinking in that
That's
moment?
like me taking under.
I know.
Have
And
a
then
cuddle
killing
with
me and leaving me to die on the couch and you taking Hunter
Oh my god.
into your bed and being like, it's fine. He would be
it's
so
okay.
weirded out. He'll
He'll be like, well, this is wrong.
He's like, let me go. Yeah, this feels so wrong on all levels.
What the fuck?
Oh my god. This so foul.
She is
sick. Sick. The doctor was called the next day and prescribed cocoa wine to stimulate her.
Yeah, this will help.
Oh my god.
Make it feel better.
And he left and said he would come back to check on Minnie later.
Imagine if we gave cocoa wine to patients in PACU. Perk them up
He's
a bit
like,
after surgery, some painkiller.
cocaine. Have some cocaine. They'd start bouncing off the fucking walls. Minnie was too sedated to drink anything for Jane to finish her off, so she instead administered
Atropine.
a poison enema. A poison enema. A poison
Why doesn't she just inject her at this point?
I don't
Doesn't
know.
want to leave a mark?
I don't know. That is such a valid question. I'm like,
Is she getting off on the
Bitch.
anal stuff now?
what the fuck?
Is this why she's going for the enema? I wonder. She's getting off on putting poison up their asshole. Maybe. I have no clue.
Yes,
But why
up their
do
asshole.
that? Okay, continue. Sorry.
She's the queen of enemas, don't you remember? By dissolving a morphine tablet in whiskey, she administered a poison enema. When the doctor returned...
Sedate and rape, basically.
Yeah, just casual.
Wow.
When the doctor returned, he was struck by how much Minnie had worsened. He called for help, but they could not revive her, and later that day, Minnie died from what the doctor diagnosed her, which was exhaustion.
Heat stroke. Or
Molested and killed. The residents...
tortured?
Yeah, just horrific, horrific
for
stuff.
weeks, it sounds like. More than a week.
Something like that. Fucked up. The residents of Cataumet, which is where they were, where the Davises lived, just chalked the deaths of the Davis family down to an act of God due to the fact that they supported Charles Freeman so staunchly and he committed that terrible act on his daughter, so nothing was investigated. Like, the townsfolk didn't give a fuck, basically. They couldn't give two shits about the Davis family dying. Like, they were just like, oh, well, that's karma, because...
I'm probably all glad.
Y'all are crackpots. Meanwhile, after killing an entire family, Jane wasn't done trying to fuck Oramel. So after killing Minnie, she decided to pay him a visit in late August of 1901. So 1900, that year, she killed a fuck ton of people, including an entire family.
She's getting a lot more confident and a lot more desperate as well, it seems.
Brazen. She expected to find him alone, but his sister Edna Bannister, 70 years of age, was there. He likes to surround himself with women, this Oramel. Probably to do the housework, I'd say. You know, upkeep the house. It was the 1800s. Wouldn't you know it, soon on August 26th, Edna was dizzy and felt run down. She took a nap and then felt better. But Jane saw an opportunity and insisted she would still rest and bought her a glass of water. That evening, when Jane watched over her, she slipped into a coma. The next morning, the same doctor, William Bass, who was called for the housekeeper's death, was called, but he was unable to revive Edna. And the following morning, she died, and the doctor diagnosed the cause of death as heart failure. Just all these fucking diagnoses that have nothing to do with the actual deaths, which is poisoning.
I guess they don't have really any way to measure that you
like,
can't do tests. You can't really do vital signs. You can feel a pulse.
Yeah, so oh, she definitely did. I don't know what it was. It must have been fucking heart failure. Or a fucking strangulator hurting her for no reason at all with no signs.
But they would have been doing, surely they're chopping people up when they die and looking around in terms of learning
not for
medicine and stuff.
Not without due cause. Yeah. I mean, some people, but not these people in this instance.
Were there coroners back then that would investigate deaths like this? I guess not.
Coroners only investigate deaths
Not
when
really.
detectives
Yeah.
ask them to, or there's a death in a hospital. Yeah. Later, she would say about the deaths, everything seemed favourable for my marrying Mr. Brigham. I had put to death the 3 women who stood in my way. This bitch is not for the girlies at all. Now,
She won't get you an Uber home if you're too drunk.
No, definitely not. She'll be like, fuck y'all, and just leave
she'll
with
get
the man
the
that
Uber
you
herself,
had.
yeah.
And she'll leave with the man that you had your eye on to. Yeah, definitely. She's a cool girl. Now, significant people were becoming suspicious about the deaths surrounding Jane. About fucking time, if you ask me. They didn't know how or what. They just knew something was off, and something was up because of the deaths, and they couldn't believe, as a nurse, she would intentionally do this. Like, maybe they were thinking she was accidentally killing them, you know?
Yeah, like she's she's really bad.
She's a shit nurse.
Like Lucy Letby. Maybe she's just a shit nurse.
Yeah. Captain Paul Gibbs, Minnie's father-in-law, became suspicious after Minnie's death because he didn't think she was unwell, because she wasn't. Just sad about her mother. He also walked in on Jane giving Minnie an injection, and she acted like she didn't want him to see it. So he busted her, basically poisoning her. But it's not something that you would seem that's uncommon. Like if you walked in on a nurse giving an injection, it's like But I think she jumped. She acted sus, you know.
Yeah, like she was like, oh fuck, I've been. He could probably see it in her face or feel the vibe. Who knows? Yeah,
The vibes were off.
yeah.
After Minnie's death, he suggested an autopsy, and Jane strongly objected, stating there was no suspicious circumstances, and he didn't want to.
Well, how do you know that?
Well, he's obviously suspicious, bitch.
Yeah, of course.
He didn't-
The suspicious circumstance.
Yeah, he's got all the suspicions.
Yeah.
He didn't want to spread slanderous rumours about Jane, so he just let it go, but he had his suspicions. Before his death, Alden Davis took a train trip with a friend called Ira Cushing, and he was perfectly healthy when he went on this train trip. Ira was then shocked to hear of his ultimate death a few days later. His suspicions became stronger when Minnie kicked the bucket a week later. So he sought out Captain Gibbs, and they started investigating together, and this is where Jane's downfall begins. Yeah, I know, about time,
Yeah.
about fucking
been doing
time.
this too
Just
long.
takes 2 completely random people, no doctors and no detectives.
Just someone who actually cares.
Yeah, gives a fuck.
Yeah.
They suspected arsenic poisoning.
Yeah, okay.
The 2 men initiated a plan to get the bodies exhumed and conduct autopsies on the bodies. They convinced the DA to exhume the bodies of Minnie and Genevieve, the 2 daughters, and an autopsy was performed on August 30th. Based on the 2 men's suspicions, the DA organised a detective, John Patterson, to start to tail Jane. So he's following her around.
She's being
which is
trailed.
Iconic.
Nice.
Meanwhile, Jane was still attempting to fuck Oromel following having killed the 3 women in his life, and no one batting an eyelid, mind. Jane became Oromel's new housekeeper and tried to win him over with her spectacular dusting skills. When that didn't work, she poisoned him just a little.
Dare you not like my dusting skills?
She poisoned him just a little, just enough to be able to nurse him back to health and show him how wonderful a nurse she is and how
Yeah.
great a wife she could be.
How much she loves him. She'll be there
What a
for him.
nutcase. When that didn't work, she just plain old threatened him and said if he didn't marry her, she will tell everyone that she's pregnant with his baby out of wedlock. The scandal. That didn't go down well with Oromel, and he kicked her out of his house, as you can imagine.
Fair enough.
Yeah, fair enough. Absolutely, King.
I would too.
So Jane made a half-assed attempt to kill herself to get Oromel's attention. Like, this bitch just doesn't stop. It didn't work to get his attention. And she was admitted to the hospital in a place called Lowell. Once she recovered, she went to visit a friend in another town with the detective tailing her all the while. So he's watching her do all this shit. The medical examiner, Dr. Fonts, and his colleagues found lethal traces of poison in both women. This was enough to get an arrest warrant on Jane. State Detective Josephus Whitney, what a name. These names, they're iconic. Travelled to where Patterson was following Jane. Jane was staying at a boarding house with George and Sarah Nichols. Together, the detectives went to the Nichols house to arrest Jane. When detectives showed up to arrest Jane, she was like unfazed and started packing and said, "I'm innocent and I'll readily go back with you." In her confession later, she said if the police didn't show up when they did, she was going to kill George and Sarah as well. Obviously, because she's a nutcase. She was taken to the Barnstable... she was taken to...
The Barnstable?
What? I'm getting all tongue-tied.
You're doing what I do now.
She was taken to a place called Barnstable and was charged with murder of just Minnie. She pled not guilty. Within days, every paper across the state was dedicating multiple pages to this story. So that's how we have all this info. While she was only facing one charge of murder at the time, people started to connect the dots about other deaths. Oromel Brigham said it was generally understood that she wanted to marry me. He knew. And I never proposed to her, nor she to me. I suspect she wanted to get the money Mrs. Toppin left. And if she married me, then if I was out of the way, of course it would have been hers. So he figured out that she wanted to marry him only to get Anne Toppin's inheritance money that was left to Elizabeth. Jane Toppin spent years murdering people and went entirely undetected. This is because people refused to believe a nurse could do this. But after her arrest, people started to come out of the woodwork to the press about her weird and strange behaviour. All of a sudden, everyone went from blindly believing that she would never do this to everyone having a story to tell and harbouring these deep-seated suspicions of her always being cruel and capable of murder. This is the thing, that when someone comes out and accuses someone of something, other people will go, yeah, I had a similar experience. But if no one speaks up, then people go, oh, it might just be me. Oh, everyone seems to like that person. Oh, I better not say anything. And that's definitely what happened with Priya. Priya's an angel. Anyway, hate to make it about me, but I just see a correlation there. Anyway, moving on. By March, the DA office had got together a panel of psychologists who at the time were called alienists. That's such a cool name.
Yeah, I've heard of alienists before, yeah.
They were called in to determine whether she was insane. The more Jane talked, the more the psych suspected she was definitely psychologically impaired. Yeah. Jane was always intelligent and coherent and never resembled a mentally ill person typically. Her utter disposition to speak against her best friends and to make accusations against them, to praise one minute and to blame the next, was very marked. They also noted that she lied constantly, making the most outrageous claims without any regard whether people would actually believe her. By April, after multiple visits, they diagnosed her with insanity due to homicidal mania. The charges had now grown to 3 of the 4 Davis family members, and it turned out that once the doctors got Jane talking, she ended up confessing to all of the deaths. Her fond remembrances of the patients who had met such tragic deaths was a compelling reason to suspect that she had probably killed much more. Lawyers said that being that her disease was constitutional, she will never recover, and if she was ever at large again, she would be a constant menace to society. In June 22, a hearing was called and she was charged with at least 31 murders that she confessed to, but was suspected of many more.
I can't believe she confessed,
Hectic,
actually.
right?
It doesn't seem like she cared about confessing or not.
She can give a fuck, I don't think.
She was proud, probably, to confess. It sounds like.
I think once she realised that she goes up, she was like, yeah, I'll tell you. I'll tell you. Let me tell you about all the people I killed. The trial lasted less than a day, and the only testimonies presented was the panel of alienists, air quote, who have evaluated Jane. She had been described by at least 3 doctors as having a degenerate type of insanity. Wow, heavy. The jury deliberated and returned a verdict of not guilty by reason of insanity.
What?
Yeah.
Shit.
But she's insane. So despite this, she was still recognised as a highly dangerous person and needed to be permanently removed from society. She was sentenced to immediate commitment to Taunton Hospital for the Criminally Insane for life.
Wow.
So she was still institutionalised and imprisoned.
Good.
She said, I realise that I'm not fit to be free, and I think you've done the best thing for me.
Wow.
Yeah. In her time at this place.
Got some insight.
Yeah. In her time at this place, she became emaciated and her high spirits that earned her the Jolly Jane nickname had gone, and she wasn't believed to live very long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair enough. She probably got fucking suppressed and ill and died from living a life in jail.
When she was sentenced, Jane laughed out loud. She LOL'd in court.
Oh my lord.
She then said later that she was totally sane, and she had and she had convinced the alienist to diagnose her as insane by claiming that she was sane. She was too smart for the whole of them, she said. I have more spunk and grit than any person living. She was a fucking narcissist, man.
Oh, yeah.
Either way, she needed to be in there. Like,
holy shit.
So
I convinced them that I was insane.
Yeah. I've got more spunk and grit than anyone in there.
About that.
Okay, spunky. Was Jane sane? If she was, then she made a huge mistake trying to get thrown into the asylum.
Yeah.
There, the inmates were treated less than human, restrained, force-fed drugs, worked to the bone and beaten.
Yeah.
A reporter said that the death by electric chair would have been a kinder sentence than what Jane got, which is
Yeah, but
great.
she doesn't deserve that.
She deserves what she got.
Yeah.
Jane declined mentally pretty quickly. This was because she entered the confinement believing she would be able to convince someone to let her out. When it
She's so delusional.
she's so deluded. When it became apparent she wouldn't be getting out, she became defiant and uncooperative, and she fell back to her spiteful gossiping and pettiness she was known for in her younger years. The newspaper said that she had abandoned the careless, cheerful frame of mind that she was known for and had become now fretful, peevish, and even ugly.
Wow.
And fearful of eating due to suspected poisons in her food.
Wow.
Yeah. The fact that the newspaper called her even ugly is iconic.
Well, do they mean she's an ugly person?
No, she'd become ugly.
Oh, she's turned ugly because
Yeah.
she's not. Yeah.
That's funny. She was never remorseful. Jane's time at Taunton Hospital passed uneventfully and she died at the age of 84 years of age.
84?
From natural causes in 1938.
Jeez.
Yeah, on the 17th of August.
Wow.
Oh my God. We'll end on a quote that she said.
Okay.
I have given the alienists the names of the 31st persons. Fuck's sake. Can I speak?
Yeah.
This final quote. Can I just
You can
say it?
try.
Can the universe just let me speak? Okay. She ended with this. Fuck my life. I'm leaving. We'll end this on her final quote. I have given the alienists the names of 31 people I killed, but in fact, I killed many more, whose names I cannot recall. I think it would only be safe to say that I killed at least 100 from the time I became a nurse at the Boston Hospital, where I killed the first one, until I ended the lives of the Davis family. End quote.
Beautiful.
Oh my gosh. So that is the story of Jane motherfucking Toppin, the psycho serial killer nurse. Like, what the fuck? What do you think, Olivia?
Like I say, I'm impressed. She's crazy. She's very smart.
She's sick.
Oh, of course. She got put where she belonged.
Yeah. I think it's iconic that she just wasted away in a psych hospital.
And was terrified of being poisoned. with
I
her
know.
food.
Karma. It's a sad story, really, isn't it? Why do I feel sorry for her? I don't know. Maybe because, like, if she lived in another time, she would have got help, you know? And then she may not have killed people.
Well, yeah, also that, but I think if she still did kill people, she wouldn't have gotten away with as many as she did, that's for sure. I just broke a nail and I really want to file it.
Are you okay, babe? Okay?
Yeah, no, it's just my OCD is just, I can't wait to finish.
Because you want to eat it?
No, because I want to file it properly. Because it's all wrong. Help. My nail's wrong. I need to fix it.
Oh,
Like
we'll do an
ASAP.
outro and then you can deal with your fucking nail. Okay, babe, I
Outro,
promise.
cue outro.
Cue outro because she needs
Goodbye. See you next time.
Thanks for listening. Have a Merry Christmas. Have a happy fucking New Year.
Yeah.
I love you all.
Party it up.
Thanks for listening to our very first month of the Nurse Ratchet podcast. We've had a blast so far. We're really grateful to be reaching the ears of people all over the fucking world at this point.
I'm excited for
so
the
many
next one
countries,
too.
like 40 plus countries.
It's great.
It's so cool.
Really, really amazing.
And we can't wait to get back into it. Next year, 2025, we will be back. So make sure you continue to listen. Check out and follow our Instagram and send us an email. Any feedback, any stories you want to share, any requests, send it to nurseratchetpodcast@gmail.com. All right.
Sounds good.
Merry Christmas. Happy
Merry
New Year. I
Christmas.
love y'all. See you in the next one.
Bye.
Bye.